Aboriginal Peoples Day, Indigenous Peoples Day. How are you celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day this year? What did you do last year? What are you doing this year? So first we're going to start with a background on what Indigenous Peoples Day is and how the name for summer solstice on June 21st has evolved from Aboriginal Peoples Day to Indigenous Peoples Day, a day that is celebrated with cultural significance for many Indigenous communities across the world. The acknowledgement of this day has evolved from what was originally known as Indigenous Peoples Day in Canada, and now it reflects a broader or updated, more politically correct term, which is used to recognize the diverse cultures, traditions, and histories of Indigenous people across the world. This day serves as not only a celebration, but as a reminder of the rich heritage and some of the ongoing struggles and issues faced by Indigenous communities. But unlike National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, this day is really centered around celebration and uplifting Indigenous people across Canada. So why can everyone benefit from participating in Indigenous Peoples Day? And what are some of these universal benefits and celebrations and good feels, good vibes that can be shared from everywhere across the land, whether you are Indigenous or non-Indigenous, no matter what your background is? So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the history of Indigenous Peoples Day, what it used to be known as, what it's known as now, why it's so important to celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day, even if you're non-Indigenous, and some ways that you can celebrate, whether it is your very first time or you are a seasoned celebrator of Indigenous Peoples Day. We've got some suggestions for you today on how you can get involved and different ways that you can learn and embrace the culture and just participate and have fun, right? So why should everyone take part in Indigenous Peoples Day? Now, the answer really lies in the transformative power of cultural education and the shared human experience, right? Connecting with each other, learning and appreciating other cultural backgrounds. So participating in this day allows individuals, an individual person, to broaden their understanding of different Indigenous cultures. It also helps you to foster a spirit of inclusivity and mutual respect and understanding. It's an opportunity for everyone, regardless of their background, to engage in meaningful dialogue, to learn about history and contributions of Indigenous people, and to also reflect on some of the steps that are still needed for reconciliation. This day also presents opportunities for educational initiatives, cultural celebrations that can give you a chance to dismantle and displace some of the stereotypes that might be in your head, misconceptions that could be there, paving the way for a more informed and empathetic and connected society. So by participating in Indigenous Peoples Day, we can together build a stronger, more cohesive community and subset of communities, inter-communities rooted in respect and appreciation for diversity of different cultural backgrounds, and also diversity within Indigenous communities and cultures within Canada alone. So what does celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day entail? We're going to get to that in a bit. When we are referring to the celebration itself and what that actually means, it's important to reflect on the different celebrations and different important days surrounding the Indigenous community within Canada, at least. There are a few key days that are represented on, the calendar within this country, but Indigenous Peoples Day is an acknowledgement, a celebration, and the focus is a positive focus to create enjoyment, an engaging experience that invites people to participate and is an opportunity for people to get their curiosity sparked by participating in something that is positive and fun. So this day's celebration should be and is usually multifaceted. So combining elements of fun, education to draw people in, and encourage deeper exploration of the multitude of Indigenous cultures that exist within Canada. Now, at its core, celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day, it means honoring the traditions, languages, different forms of art, different forms of culture and people and societies that exist within Indigenous communities and in a really strong and powerful way still to this day. It involves recognizing the profound connection between Indigenous people and the land, as well as the resilience and strength that have been shown throughout history to amount to us still being here and us being strong and positive and proud of who we are as Indigenous people. So I hope you can start to see why it is so beneficial for anyone of any background, any age, any gender to celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day. Let me know in the comments below if you have any feedback, thoughts, comments on the benefits of celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day and it being fully inclusive and welcoming and inviting to anyone of any background. Now, moving on to the how. How can individuals, clubs, families, communities, how can all different shapes and sizes and environments and walks of life celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day in a way that is both enjoyable and educational? So here are some ideas for you. First, community events and festivals. I don't know about you, but I absolutely love community events, festivals. When there's organized fun, I try to be there. There are usually events that showcase Indigenous music, dance, art, cuisine. These gatherings can celebrate a vibrant atmosphere where people can experience a richness of Indigenous culture firsthand. The next is workshops and educational sessions. Workshops on creating traditional crafts, storytelling, language lessons. These types of educational activities can provide a hands-on learning experience and provide deeper understanding of Indigenous knowledge systems, how knowledge is passed down while you're learning something new and potentially creating something new. The third way to celebrate will be panel discussions or lectures. So inviting or going to attend an Indigenous event where there's a leader, scholar, activist to speak about their personal experiences and perspectives is a great thing you can do on Indigenous Peoples Day. These sessions can shed light on contemporary issues that are facing Indigenous communities or Indigenous individuals and the ongoing efforts toward reconciliation that can be recommended to audience members. The next way is to participate in film screenings or book clubs. Films and books by Indigenous creators can highlight inspiring stories and experiences and allow people to discuss and reflect on some of the themes and messages that were conveyed through these works. One amazing example of this is a recent feature film featuring Lily Gladstone. So watching Indigenous movies, whether it's a feature film or a short film, or even a short social media video on YouTube, can be both entertaining, educational, and allow you to immerse yourself in the creative experience that the filmmaker has created for audience members to learn about Indigenous life. The next way to participate in Indigenous Peoples Day is going on a nature walk or an outdoor activity. So connecting with the environment or organizing a nature walk in your community, whether it's with an Indigenous guide or if it is just yourself and maybe taking a proactive step by learning about the significance of the land territory that you're in, and maybe even some sustainable practices that have been passed down through generations in the local territory that you are venturing out into, can be a great way to connecting with the land and taking it into your own hands and doing so yourself by getting out in nature and exploring on your own if that is something that appeals to you. Now, the next way to participate in Indigenous Peoples Day could be through social media campaigns. So participating in a trending social media campaign on your favorite platform could include you sharing information or even consuming learning information or resources or personal reflections on Indigenous Peoples Day or how you are choosing to celebrate. This could involve you amplifying the voices of Indigenous content creators, supporting their work, and commenting on good projects and good posts that appeal to you. The next way is to support Indigenous businesses and artists. So on Indigenous Peoples Day and around Indigenous Peoples Day, make a conscious effort to support Indigenous-owned businesses and artists. You can do this by purchasing their products, promoting their work. That's a tangible way to contribute to the economic well-being of Indigenous communities and Indigenous people, but you could also just comment on their work by complimenting it or participating in a social media post that they're sharing with you. There are tons of impressive Indigenous businesses, creators, artists out there that are using their creations, their craft to make a living and to provide for their family. Even if some of their products are out of your budget, out of your price range, you could still support them by commenting or sharing or talking about how much you appreciate their work, asking questions. Engaging in the creator in any way, shape, or form can be a great way to support them on Indigenous Peoples Day and beyond without having to purchase something from them if it is something that is out of your budget. But of course, purchasing their products and promoting and then sharing the purchase and your experience and your review, interacting with it would be an above and beyond way to be an incredible supporter supporter of Indigenous Peoples Day and of the brand that you are buying from. All right, now the next way that you can participate in Indigenous Peoples Day is to reflect and also to take action. So this one involves advocacy, education, and making a change. So you can use this day as an opportunity to reflect on your own personal understandings of Indigenous issues and to take action towards reconciliation. This could involve people beyond yourself or just yourself personally, right? And your own actions that you can control. So educate yourself first on the history and the current challenges that are faced by Indigenous people, and consider maybe how you personally can contribute to some positive change. Just positive change in the way that you think. Maybe stereotypes or ways that people are overlooking cross-cultural understandings or biases that could be challenging to people that you may know who are Indigenous or people that you don't know that they are, and ways that your attitude and your mindset could really make a big impact on their life. So I hope that you have found some of these tips and recommendations for participating in Indigenous Peoples Day valuable. And if you have watched any of my previous videos about Indigenous Peoples Day, you can watch them up here. I've linked them up here. I will link all of the other Indigenous Peoples Day videos in the description below, as I've created other examples and ways that you can celebrate in the past and previous years. They exist, so you can check those out in the description below. And if you have any other ideas or questions on how to celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day, or concerns, or you want to share links to some really great opportunities for people to participate in, please share in the comments. I'd love to know what you are up to for Indigenous Peoples Day, whether it is on the day or before or after or around June 21st. So Chimigwech for watching. Thank you so much. I hope you have an amazing day, and we'll see you next time.